Meet the residents of Element City. Air usually has their head in the clouds.
Oh, my new jacket!
Earth can be a little seedy.
Nothing weird going on here.
Just a little pruning.
In 2023, audiences were introduced to a vibrant and imaginative world through their animated film Elemental, a story that explores identity, belonging, family expectations, and the surprising ways in which different worlds can connect. Set in a city where the classical elements of nature live side by side, the film builds its emotional core around two unlikely individuals whose lives intersect in ways that challenge the rules of their society. Within this colorful metropolis known as Element City, fire, water, earth, and air residents coexist, yet their differences shape invisible boundaries that many believe should never be crossed. The story focuses on a young firewoman named Ember and a gentle waterman named Wade, whose relationship grows in the most unexpected way, transforming not only their lives, but also the way they see their world. The character of Ember is brought to life by the voice of Leah Lewis, who gives the fiery protagonist a mixture of determination, vulnerability, and quiet strength. Ember is a character who carries the weight of her family's hopes on her shoulders. She lives and works in a small family shop created by her immigrant parents, who came to Element City with dreams of building a better life. Her father, Bernie, voiced by Ronnie del Carmen, represents the sacrifices made by those who came before her. Bernie is a hardworking fire resident who built his store from the ground up, and as he approaches retirement, he hopes Ember will one day take over the business and continue the legacy he created through years of effort and perseverance. Bernie's personality reflects warmth and stubborn pride, someone who believes deeply in tradition and in protecting the family's future. Ember's mother, Cinder, voiced by Shila Ommi, brings another dimension to Ember's family life. Cinder is loving and emotionally expressive, often encouraging warmth and connection in the household. She carries a playful energy that contrasts with Bernie's strict expectations, and she also longs to see Ember find happiness in her personal life. Cinder's nurturing personality reveals the softer side of the family dynamic, showing that beneath the pressure placed on Ember, there is also genuine care and hope for her future. While Ember's world revolves around fire culture and the traditions of her family, her life changes dramatically when she meets Wade, voiced by Mamoudou Athie. Wade is a water resident whose personality could not be more different from Ember's intense and passionate nature. He is emotional, empathetic, and openly expressive, someone who wears his feelings on the surface just as naturally as water flows through the city. Wade's perspective introduces a new way of thinking into Ember's life. Where she has always believed that fire and water should never mix, Wade approaches life with curiosity and openness. His kindness and emotional honesty slowly begin to break down the walls Ember has built around herself. Wade works within the city's bureaucratic system, and through him, audiences are introduced to the complex systems that keep Element City running. The city itself is a marvel of design, built around the unique needs of each elemental group. Water residents move through canals and waterways, air residents float through breezy spaces and high-rise towers, and earth residents are connected with nature and plant life. Fire residents, however, live somewhat on the margins, in neighborhoods designed to keep them safe from environments that might extinguish their flames. These divisions create both practical and social barriers, shaping how the elements interact with one another. Wade's workplace introduces another memorable character, Gale, voiced by Wendy McLendon-Covey. Gale is Wade's boss, a powerful and sometimes stormy air resident who runs her department with intensity and energy. Her personality reflects the unpredictable nature of air itself, shifting quickly between enthusiasm and frustration. Gale also has an unusual hobby involving air ball competitions, something that adds humor and personality to her character, while giving a glimpse into the cultural activities of the air residents. Through Gale, the film explores the sometimes chaotic world of city administration and the ways in which different elements must cooperate to keep their city functioning. Wade's family life provides yet another perspective on Element City. His mother, Brooke, voiced by Catherine O'Hara, is warm, welcoming, and deeply supportive. Brooke embodies the flowing nature of water, someone who embraces people easily and creates a home filled with acceptance. When Ember eventually encounters Wade's family, she experiences a different kind of environment than the one she grew up in. While Ember's household is shaped by duty and tradition, Wade's home is filled with emotional openness and and encouragement. This contrast becomes a key part of the story, highlighting how families can express love in very different ways. Within Ember's own neighborhood, there are other residents who reflect the diverse ecosystem of Element City. One of them is Claude, voiced by Mason Wertheimer, an Earth resident who lives nearby and quietly admires Ember. Claude's personality is gentle and slightly awkward, someone who finds Ember fascinating and inspiring. As an Earth character, Claude represents stability and growth, yet his admiration for Ember also hints at the possibility of connections across elemental lines. Even when those connections remain unspoken, they show that curiosity and admiration can exist, even in a society where the elements are expected to remain separate. The film also introduces Fern, a somewhat comical bureaucrat voiced by Joe Pera. Fern represents the overgrown complexity of the city's administrative systems. As a plant-like figure deeply embedded within the bureaucracy of Element City, Fern embodies the idea that institutions can grow tangled and complicated over time. His presence adds humor while also highlighting the challenges of navigating rules and regulations in a diverse city where every element has different needs. Behind the scenes, the film is guided by director Peter San, whose storytelling brings both heart and visual creativity to the project. San crafts a narrative that blends spectacle with deeply personal themes. Through Ember's journey, the film reflects the experiences of families who immigrate to new places in search of opportunity, only to discover that cultural identity and generational expectations can create difficult emotional crossroads. Ember's struggle is not just about running a shop or meeting her father's expectations. It is about discovering who she truly is and deciding what kind of life she wants to build. The production of the film was overseen by producer Denise Ream, whose role helped bring together the creative and technical teams responsible for shaping the movie's world. Animation on this scale requires careful coordination between artists, writers, designers, and engineers, all working to create a city where fire flickers with personality, water flows with emotion, air swirls with energy, and earth grows with life. The result is a visually rich environment that feels alive in every frame. Creative guidance also came from executive producer Pete Docter, a filmmaker known for shaping emotionally resonant animated stories. Under his leadership at Pixar, the studio has often focused on narratives that combine imaginative concepts with deeply human themes. In this film, that philosophy continues as the story examines the ways people navigate identity, cultural heritage, and relationships that challenge long-standing beliefs. The screenplay itself was written by John Hoberg and Kat Lickle alongside Brenda Shue, weaving together humor, emotional conflict, and world-building into a story that moves between intimate character moments and large-scale city adventures. The writers craft dialogue that highlights the contrasts between Ember and Wade, allowing their personalities to collide in ways that are sometimes funny, sometimes awkward, and often deeply touching. The story concept itself was developed collaboratively by Peter San, John Hoberg, Kat Lickle, and Brenda Shue, ensuring that the film's thematic ideas were embedded from the earliest stages of development. Their shared vision was to create a world where the basic elements of nature could represent the diversity of human experiences. Fire symbolizes passion and intensity, water represents emotional openness, air reflects freedom and change, and earth embodies growth and stability. Through these metaphoric elemental metaphors, the story speaks about the ways people from different backgrounds learn to understand one another. Music plays a crucial role in shaping the film's emotional atmosphere, and the original score was composed and conducted by Thomas Newman. Known for creating music that blends delicate orchestration with subtle emotional resonance, Newman's compositions help bring depth to the story's quieter moments. His score flows between playful themes that reflect the lively energy of Element City and more introspective melodies that accompany Ember's personal journey. As Ember and Wade spend more time together, their relationship begins to challenge the assumptions they have grown up with. In a city where fire and water are expected to remain separate, their friendship alone feels like a small act of rebellion. Yet the more they explore the city together, the more they discover that the boundaries between elements may not be as absolute as they once believed. Their interactions reveal not only the beauty of Element City, but also the ways in which its rules were shaped by fear, tradition, and misunderstanding. The emotional heart of the story lies in Ember's struggle to reconcile her loyalty to her family with her own evolving identity. She has always believed that inheriting the family shop is her destiny, the culmination of everything her parents sacrificed to build their life in the city. But as she begins to imagine a different future, she realizes that following her own path might mean disappointing the people she loves most. This tension between personal dreams and family expectations is something many viewers can recognize, making Ember's journey deeply relatable. Wade, on the other hand, represents a perspective that values emotional honesty and personal growth. His willingness to express his feelings openly becomes both a source of humor and a catalyst for change. Through Wade, Ember learns that vulnerability is not a weakness, but a strength that allows people to connect in meaningful ways. Their friendship becomes a mirror through which each character learns something new about themselves. As the story unfolds, Element City itself becomes more than just a setting. It becomes a symbol of how communities evolve when individuals challenge old assumptions. The film suggests that differences between people do not have to create permanent barriers. Instead, those differences can lead to unexpected understanding, creativity, and connection. By the time the narrative reaches its most emotional moments, the audience has witnessed a transformation not only in Ember and Wade, but also in the way the city itself is perceived. What once seemed like rigid boundaries between elements begins to feel more fluid and open. The world that once appeared divided slowly reveals the possibility of harmony. The lasting impression of the film comes from the way it balances humor, warmth, and reflection. Its characters are whimsical and imaginative, yet their struggles feel grounded in real emotional experiences. Through Ember's fiery determination and Wade's flowing compassion, the story captures the idea that the most meaningful changes in life often begin with simple acts of curiosity and courage. In the end, the world of Elemental stands as a reminder that identities are shaped not only by where people come from, but also by the relationships they build along the way. The film's colorful city and imaginative characters serve as a backdrop for a universal story about family, belonging, and the courage required to step beyond the boundaries others expect us to follow. Through its heartfelt performances, thoughtful storytelling, and richly animated world, the film invites audiences to consider how even the most different individuals can discover common ground when they are willing to truly see one another.